Zab in Hillingdon. Zab, good evening. How can I help?
Good evening. Thank you. First of all, I like your legal advice very much. I've been listening for a long, long time.
Thank you.
First time asking a question. I've been dismissed for gross misconduct on the basis of probabilities. Short story, a few number of ladies in my workplace put a statement against me for sexual harassment. But the company dismissed me on the basis of probabilities, no hard evidence. Am I eligible for compensation or not?
How long have you worked for them, Zab?
I've worked for 10 years, but first 9 years on regular bank, Monday to Saturday.
That probably won't matter because you have to have at least 2 years to bring an unfair dismissal claim. As a bank worker, you're a bank employee, you're probably an employee. Let's assume that you are and that you have unfair dismissal rights. Zab, the short answer is on what you've told me, probably not. It doesn't mean that they were correct to say that you were guilty of sexual harassment, but I'm afraid the legal test for whether you've been unfairly dismissed is simply whether the employer had an honest belief that you'd sexually harassed these women. So, did the person taking the decision believe it to be true? I think we can assume yes. Did the employer conduct a reasonable investigation? Now, if they took statements, if they showed you those statements, if they had a disciplinary hearing and offered you a right of appeal, then they will have done a reasonable investigation. And finally, did they have reasonable grounds for that belief? And if they've got, how many ladies made allegations against you?
3.
Okay, so if they've got 3 people saying that you did do whatever you were accused of, and you don't need to tell me what it was, if there are 3 people saying you did do what you're accused of, and one person, i.e. you, saying you didn't, I think they are entitled to accept that evidence, that they have reasonable grounds. That's the legal test for believing that you're guilty. It's not the same as a criminal case where they've got to prove, or where someone would have to prove the case beyond reasonable doubt, which is a much higher standard. For employment law, for dismissal, it's just, do they have reasonable grounds? And with a 3 against 1, unless you had some absolute smoking gun silver bullet to prove all 3 of them were lying, they will have reasonable grounds.
So is it okay to sack someone on the basis of probability, no hard evidence?
Yes.
Just people put false statement.
Ganged
up against me.
You say, Zab, and I'm sorry to put it this bluntly, but they said it was true. You said it's false. Someone has to make a decision. They make that decision on balance of probabilities.
All right. Okay.